How are you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, where I blog about my experiences with and about the tarot cards, and where I also do my deck and book reviews, and I also offer my tarot reading services, and I also mentor and teach tarot card reading, and okay, all of that. This video is, I know it's completely out of the blue. It was not in my plan, trust me. But I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time now. It's been on my mind, and yes, I even wrote down a few points on the ubiquitous post-it notes. As you can see, I'm a big fan, because I need to make sure that I don't miss those points. The thing is, I keep getting asked a lot, how do I trust my intuition? How do I trust my intuition? Not just comments on my videos, but also in emails by students, by everybody. Like, what is intuition? How do I trust it? And how do I, all of it. Now, I'm not a great authority on this, but I can tell you is how you can do that using the tarot cards. Okay, and this video is kind of an unscripted riff about my thoughts on this matter, so it can be a bit long. I don't know how it's gonna be, how long it's gonna be, so bear with me and stick around because I think it's gonna be fun. Now the thing is, as I said, if I keep getting asked a lot that, like, how do I trust my intuition? And I'm gonna backtrack a little, and I'm gonna linearly, hopefully, try to present my thoughts on this matter. I want to go back to that point in time in my life where I asked that question, like, to my tarot card reader, right, who later became my tarot card teacher. If you've seen my video about how I got into tarot, I'll link it up somewhere. Point is, I went for a reading, and then after that I was like mesmerized. I was like, wow, these cards, they're like, I think they're talking to me, but I'm not getting what they're saying. So I asked her, I said, I'm not psychic like you, or I don't get those, whatever psychic feelings and stuff. And like, I'm just a regular person, very probably even quite intellectually, of an intellectual bent of mind, so to speak, and I use my head more than my heart. That's kind of how I was back then. And how can I also learn, and what my teacher said is that everybody has intuitive abilities, and everybody can technically pick up one of the various intuitive arts or sciences or crafts, whatever you would choose to call it. Everybody can pick it up and go with it, because whatever calls out to you, you got to go with that. But we've been taught in schools, in college, and throughout our lives not to follow that intuition, not to go with that, with that very instinctive things, the thoughts and feelings and whatnot that come in our mind. We have been taught. Again, I'm just gonna go all over the place here. I'm reading this very interesting book called Writing into the Dark. It's on my Kindle. I'll write the name of the author here. And it basically, it's kind of, it's a similar thought process that the author is saying, that because I've been having so much difficulty outlining my book and then following and sticking to that outline, right? Like, whenever I write a novel, I make it this outline, and then I try to stick to it, but then my characters go all over the place, and I'm like, oh my god! So in this book, the author says, forget the outline, just write. And a whole lot of other stuff, which is very interesting, which kind of is making sense to me now. Because, like, in school, right, if you had to write an essay, they said, oh, make an outline. So it's kind of, so the reason I'm saying that is because this is where it starts. This is how they get you to streamline your thinking in a systematic manner, in a process, in a step-by-step way, which, believe me, is not completely wrong, because some things require that kind of thought process. I'm not saying that no, that is completely not required, that's stupid, that's silly. No, not at all. There is a time and a place for that kind of thinking. Totally. All right. And believe me, because I'm kind of 50% in the head and 50% in the heart kind of a person, so there is always a time and place for linear thinking, right? I like to call it linear thinking. There's always a time and place for that sort of thing. And I'm not saying that it's wrong, but when you're coming back to intuition or creativity, and I think that there's a very thin line, it's kind of the same. You have to not think linearly, right? And that is where the tarot cards come in. All right, that is where the tarot cards sort of, they help you fill that gap, because they have pictures on them, and pictures inspire you or push you towards looking at these things non-linearly, and getting into the story, getting into the symbolism, getting into what they're trying to say through the image, and they help you kind of think non-linearly and arrive at some kind of a answer or conclusion or story or some such thing, right? And that is where your intuition really slowly starts kind of making its presence felt. Because if you're not following a script, and see, that's the thing, an outline can be like a script, right? You're following the outline, you're following a script. So if you're not following a script and you're just looking at the picture and just making stuff up, literally, okay, what are you doing? What is it that's really happening? Your creativity is going all over the place, it's being sparked, and you're just coming up with stuff based on what you're seeing there, and you're just going with the flow. You're connecting, and on an energetic level, like this is what's happening in, say, in your brain, is that subconsciously, the stuff that's been stored, that can be associated with the image or with the feeling that that image evokes, and the experiences that you've had with those feelings, all of that, everything kind of gets, triggered, and you say something, and you kind of make something. You feel like you're making it up, but it's coming from somewhere. Energetically, what's happening is that your aura or your energy or whatever you believe, everything around you, you're connecting with the kind of flowing energy of the universe in a way. And maybe you're connecting with the person you're reading for, right? Like, most likely you're doing that. Your energy, his energy is kind of merging, meeting, and you're picking stuff up from him also, or his subconsciously, whatever he or she is kind of giving out or emitting, you're picking it up. Because most good readers will also kind of be empaths, right? They're I mean, I'm not, I'm just making a generalization here, just so that it kind of, I don't want to say that everybody is or isn't, or it's good or bad. I'm just saying that when you're doing a reading, you're kind of open. You're opening the door of your heart in a way, and saying, okay, let me receive, or in order to read properly, in order to read correctly or whatever, let me be open to the energies that the client is having, and you pick up on those vibes. That is what's happening energetically. You may not be consciously aware of this, or over a period of time, if you are doing, if you're into meditation, or if you're into all these things, then you will be consciously aware of what's kind of happening. If you're a person with the, psychology kind of bent of mind, then you know what's going on in your subconscious. You're picking stuff up from the universal consciousness and from your own subconscious mind. If you're very intellectually, if you have that kind of a perspective on things, then, I'll give you all kinds of charts and stuff that you can study, which I've made up. But the point is, it's the same thing. You are accessing this wealth of information in your subconscious, and it's just getting put together in your brain in a very instinctive way, right? And that is your intuition, really. And what happens is, because at first it is new, it's something that well, it's not really new, it's something that you discontinued using or relying on when you were a kid, when you were told in school, or or in the world, that think logically, think intellectually. Like I said, certain places it's called for, certain places you can totally be chill, you can rely on your intuition. And that's where the tarot cards come in. They help you spark that intuition again, that non-linear thinking, that very connections all over the place kind of thinking, because images and the stories that they make. Now, how do you trust that? How do you know that, oh, it's real, it's correct, it's what it's like, for instance, most people use tarot for prediction of something, like what's going to happen and stuff. So how do you know that all the stuff that's coming is correct or not? Honestly, document it, write it down, record it, do something, and see it happen. Because you will see it happen. Maybe not 100%, because nobody is that accurate, but you will see 8 out of 10 things happen. And that's pretty way up there in terms of accuracy. Okay? My point is, you will learn to trust it when you see it. And you gotta see it to believe it. And for that, you gotta write it down or record it somewhere, so that when stuff happens, you can go back to it and say, okay, what did I say back then? Oh, okay, and look what happened. And then oh, look, all these things actually happened, right? You can do that when you do readings for yourself. You can even get feedback from the people that you have read for, and especially when stuff happens the way you've told them that, okay, this will happen. Most people will email you or call you or text you or get in touch with you somehow and say, hey man, look what you said, it happened. So yes, that's the most practical way to know that whatever you are saying is happening. But I have this list here, how to trust your intuition. Let's get into that. Right? Have faith in yourself. That's the first and foremost thing. Have faith in yourself, right? This thing is coming from inside of you. Doubt, which is from your mind. Faith is from your heart. Remember that. Intuition, creativity comes when your head and your heart kind of mix up their energies. That's how I see it. Mostly it's the heart, but the head also comes in to kind of make sense of some things spoken, but the rest of it, it's just heart, right? So when in doubt, trust your heart, always, right? If you feel in here that it's right, it's true, just go with it. Have faith in yourself, have that confidence, and believe me, okay, I'm telling you this with experience and everything out there, that the more faith you will have in yourself about this, the more you will see that whatever is coming to you in these moments of intuitive clarity is actually true, or it's coming true, or you'll receive word from the universe or from the people you've read for that, yes, it came true. The more you trust it, the more trustworthy it becomes, right? The more you will get evidence and proof and everything, all the signs, all the things that will happen will be like, oh yeah, it's happening. You put your faith in it, and it will respond in kind and in a good way, right? Your heart, your intuition will never betray you. You just have faith in it. Okay, that was point number 1. Point number 2 is have faith in in the higher power, in the subconscious, like whatever you believe, whoever you believe. Okay, your faith system, whichever system you believe in, doesn't matter. Have faith in that system, right? If you have to have, you need to have faith in something that is higher than yourself, always, right? People who don't believe in God, atheists who question the existence of God, can believe in themselves, or in the intellectual capacity of their mind or the subconscious mind, right? It doesn't matter what your belief system is really, it's just, it does not matter. What matters is you believe in that system, right? Whether you believe in a god or multiple gods or particular god or this one, that one, it just believe that a force that is stronger than you, higher than you, bigger than you, vaster than you, is actually guiding you in tune with the forces of the universe. So which means that basically you are connected, you are in tune, you are synced with the forces of the world around you, with the energies of the world around you. And so you'll be guided all the time in the correct, right path. All right. So first is have faith in yourself, in whatever processes are going on inside of you when you're doing that reading. Second is have faith in the processes outside of yourself, the universe, the existence, God, all of that. Your intellect, your subconscious. Have faith in the higher power around you, that yes, you are connected to that also, that you are aligned with that also, that you're synced with that also, and it's guiding you in the right direction. Okay. Now, the third one, and this is again another thing I keep getting asked a lot: card meanings, right? And this is again another it's a kind of a pain point of mine, that I meet sometimes my or I chat with or whatever some of my old tarot reading students who have maybe stopped doing readings or practicing, read a card a day, whatever. And I say, hey man, what's up? Like, how's your tarot reading going? And they're like, oh, I have not touched my cards in ages. I need to go revise the meanings. And I'm like, dude, you don't need to do that. Right? Or sometimes there are people who are learning how to read tarot cards, or who have learned tarot card reading from a book or from a teacher or something. They're like, oh, I need to have my notebook. You don't. Okay, you don't need to have, I mean, yeah, reference books are good, and you should study them. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should totally study them. But once you've studied them, it's all in your head already. You've read it, it's in here. Trust yourself, trust your brain. It's doing its job. All right. Your brain is like a computer of the computers. It's like the boss of all computers. It does its job. Okay. Even if you think you're forgetful, you're actually not forgetful. Believe in that, right? It's all in there. And, all right, you can always look at the picture, man, right? The card has an image on it. If all else fails, right? If you don't remember the card meanings, or if you don't remember the keywords, that's okay. Look at the card picture. The card story method is, it's kind of my way of telling you how to come up, how to kind of derive the card meaning using a very intellectual process, right? So it's kind of an intellectual process towards intuition. If that kind of if that makes sense. It tells you very systematically, do this, then you look at this, then you look at this. So look at the background of the, what's going on in the background of the image. Look at what the person is doing. Look at the symbols and what they mean, and connect the dots. The end. You don't need to have 20,000 meanings, or you don't need to have your notebook on you all the time. You don't need to go revise anything. You just need to pick up the cards and just shuffle through them, look at the pictures, and let it strike your imagination. Because when you've read it, when you've studied it, it's already in here. It's saved forever. This is not gonna go corrupt. This data is already here. And so when you look at the card images and see, this is where your doubt becomes your enemy, your self-doubt, because you're like, oh my god, maybe I should revise the meanings. Oh my god, maybe I should go back and check the card, what my teacher taught me. No, you don't need to. Your teacher already did her job, and you as a student already did your job. It's all in here. You're already accessing it. It's your doubt that is creating all these layers of fear in you, which is not letting you see that the information is already there. It's the fog in that forest, and you gotta tell that fog to just go disappear, and it will. And you will see all the card meanings are already there. You don't need to revise nothing. So look at the card picture, look at the card story, look at the background, the person, the symbols, connect the dots, and just go wild. Make up the story, make up the story, make up the story. Because that is where your intuition is really, 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 really coming from. All right. So use your card meanings as a guide. And so what happens is you're not limited to those 5 meanings or 20 meanings that you picked up from here, there, everywhere. You can, sometimes you'll get meanings just out of the blue, from nowhere, and you're like, huh, and you say it and it'll happen. Okay. And when it happens, and then the person comes back to you and says, you said all this, it happened, you start believing, you will get that evidence. So again, it cycles back to having faith in yourself, right? And have faith in the fact that it's already there. This is where your brain, this is the role that your brain needs to play as a holder of the memories of or the information. But then you need to put your heart into saying, oh, I'm not scared, I'm just gonna go for it, I'm gonna go with it. Just go with it, right? And again, the next one is very important, because this is also how it you can get started with intuition, is be childlike and playful, and remember how it was. All right, so go back to when you were a kid. Okay, go back to like your memories when you were a kid, when everything was you were playful, when you didn't have uh responsibilities and life wasn't such a big deal. You just go back to that point in your memory when you were just a kid. You were playing with your crayons, with your dolls, with your toys, with your GI Joes, or whatever it is that you were playing with. And remember how you used to make up stories, the dinosaur goes to work and the G.I. Joe goes to hunt the dinosaur and Barbie's gonna cook in the kitchen and whatever, you know what I'm saying? You used to just look at those dolls, look at your toys, look at whatever you had at that point. You don't have to have all the accessories of everything. Kids are so inventive, and if by the way, if this is not helping, or you can't go back, or you don't really necessarily remember how you used to play as a kid, go and look at other kids when they are playing. They just make stuff up with whatever they have on hand, and they just go wild with it. Just and by the way, I'm talking about kids who are not stuck in front of the TV or the iPad or iPhone just watching the screen. I'm talking about kids who are actually just playing without any electronic equipment telling them anything. These are kids, they will make stuff up. They will just go wild, and it's like, wow, yeah, that's so cool, right? Just watching them play. Like my niece, right? It's so funny. Like my sister has the little tiny table with tiny 4 chairs for like a little kids table, right? So one day my niece just took all the 4 chairs, she put them one after the other and said, this is my car. And we're gonna go to the park, or we're gonna go to, and she just sat in one of the seats. And she's like, Mama is now driving, or I'm gonna be driving. And she was just playing 4 chairs. That's all she had. 4 chairs arranged in a line. And she went to the park, she went to the store, she went and did a whole lot of things. And she had this little tiny purse she carried with her, imitating my sister, and a little tiny cell phone thing. She's basically just, in her imagination, she went all over the world and did a bunch of shopping and came back with just 4 chairs arranged in a line, right? You don't need anything, Really, kids are so inventive. And what I want you to do is get in touch with that little kid inside of you. It's there. He or she is there, totally there, always there. That kid is always there. And see, this is what happens, this linear thinking, this systematic thinking. Like I said, there's a time and place for it, but when you're coming to do something creative, when you're coming to do something intuitive, when you're coming to do something like tarot, you're gonna be letting that kid out. Okay, and that is why having that faith in yourself and all of that comes into play, because you're going to look at the card meanings, and yes, intellectually you're going to have these really mature topics coming up when you're doing the reading, and you're going to have symbolic meanings coming from here, there, everywhere, all kinds of deep stuff but that's here. In here, you're going to let the child come out and play, and you're going to be like, okay, now this is the story, and making stuff up, looking at the pictures there. Be childlike. Let your inner child come out and play and be playful here. I mean, in terms of being creative and intuitive, right? It's important that you learn to do that, that you allow yourself to do that, that you let that little child come out and play. Because that kind of approach is where your intuition is really, really going to blossom. Okay? Just that. And the next point which I have here on my post-it is be in the moment. Like, really. Just right here, right now, when you're doing the reading, just be in that moment. So, to trust your intuition, right? Because in that moment is where you are. In that moment is where everything is unfolding, unraveling, happening. You're looking at this and stuff is just coming. You are not you. Forget yourself. Be that child. Be that playful person who is making stuff up by looking at the card meanings, because intellectually you know what the meanings are, you know how you've derived those meanings or how you've come up to those meanings. So don't worry, trust your brain to do its job, okay? But then let it do its job, and you focus on the feelings, focus on the emotions, focus on what's coming to you, how it's happening. I mean, yes, again, I've explained it to you, but that is simply because your brain needs that explanation. So yes, here's that explanation, but now that it's been explained, put it aside, focus on the feelings, focus on what's coming, and have faith. Have faith. All right, just if I have to summarize how to trust your intuition, I would say have faith in yourself, have faith in the higher power, right? That the higher power is guiding you in the right direction. Have faith in that. Then use your card meanings as a guide, as a jumping point into the story. Use your card images as a jumping point into the story, and then allow that inner child to come out and make that story, and just be in that moment and let it happen. Trust yourself. Trust that inner child. Be playful with it, and believe me, your intuition will never let you down. Okay, in fact, it will seep over into areas of your life where you may not even have the cards at hand, but you'll get a feeling, you'll get this thing, and just if you follow it, trust me, you won't regret it. I've had those, and I'm not saying that it happens to me all the time, I'm saying I have had those moments, right? So when I needed the most, I get that moment, the brainwave, the lightning bolt, whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna follow this, because whenever I've not followed it, I've regretted it. So I've learned my lesson. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna follow this, right? And so if you want to ask me how to awaken your intuition, right, this is kind of the second part that I want to talk about. Like, first, of course, how to trust your intuition. Second is how to awaken that intuition. So again, it's kind of, it's more or less the same thing. It says, be childlike. I remember this if you go on Amazon and you go on the page where my book is listed. I know I shouldn't be. Don't construe this as a mean and nasty thing, because it's actually not. I mean, if you go on the Amazon page where my book is listed, uh, link is in the description below. So go there, and if you scroll down to the reviews, right, there is one lady who has given me a 1-star review, and she's like, "Oh, screw this! Just, why are you even bothering? Just ask your uh wait, hang on, I'm gonna pull this up on my my browser. uh Sorry, but and some of the stuff that she said, I guess it's her perspective and she has every right to say that. But if you, I'm just scrolling down, yeah, it's like, save your dollars and ask the closest 5-year-old instead. That's the title of her review. And I'm like, if at all, Amazon doesn't give authors the ability to rate a review. Right? So if I would totally give her 5 stars on her review. Why? Because that's kind of the point. I mean, she kind of missed the point a little, because you don't have to ask your nearest 5-year-old, you have to ask your inner 5-year-old, about it. And in the book, I've given, as I said, the card story technique and the storytelling technique is basically, I've given stuff for your brain, because your brain needs a framework, because that's what it's taught to do, right? So I've given that framework to your brain, and then I'm like, just go be childlike, right? That's kind of what I'm saying. Just open your heart and allow that inner child to come out and play. And some of the techniques that I have mentioned in there were stuff that my teacher used to try out on me or on her students. And so she, again, her opinion is her opinion. I'm not gonna say it's right, wrong, or whatever. But the main central theme that she's like, you ask your closest 5-year-old. That's kind of, I'm like, dude, you kind of got the point, kinda, because you have to ask your inner 5-year-old. And even though, right, you feel that, oh, this is a very mature topic and blah blah blah, it is. Okay, don't get me wrong, there's a whole lot of stuff in there which I'm kind of studying these days, the March Tarot and ultimately the thought. And I am studying the Kabbalah, not so much, but how Kabbalah and numerology play their role, and why the tarot is structured the way it is. I'm really getting into it. But that being said, that is like, that's the study part of it. That's, again, this it's up here, right? This is for the head. And knowing that only adds value to the bank of information that my subconscious contains, right? I'm just filling it up with more and more information. That is what all this study will do, right? Whether you study the deck, or whether you study these systems, or whether you get into this or that, and occult and esoteric topics are aplenty out there. Okay, so whatever you feel called to do, go for it. But that information, that knowledge is going up here in your head, in this computer of your brain, and that data is getting stored, and it's only going to enrich that pool of information within your subconscious. So when you're going to be doing a reading, it's going to be with an open heart, with your inner child coming out to play. And now think of that pool of information from your subconscious as the box of toys that that inner child has access to. So now that inner child has more toys, to kind of pull out of the box and say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to play with that. And this information is going to be used in deciphering the spread that's been laid out there. So nothing that you have studied or read or experienced or felt goes to waste. It's imagine like those become little toys that go into that inner child's toolbox, which is basically your subconscious. And then the child will just randomly pull all the toys or make a mess, and but they're happy, they're playing. And that's what is going on. And then you're using all of that to decipher the spread. And the more you have in terms of that knowledge, the more your toy box is full. The more toys you have, the more enriched that story gets. That is all, right? So these various systems are just a means to kind of enriching the pool of information that you have access to. But ultimately it's going to be that intuition, that feeling, that's what you're going to go with. And for that you got to genuinely just let that inner child come out and play. Okay, just and it's a process. It takes a while, but it will happen. Just allow it to happen. Don't withhold. Just let it happen. Okay, believe me, you will see changes in the way you approach your life also, and your life will be more happier. You will feel more happier, trust me. I mean, this is even applicable, this thing will become applicable even to your life. You will feel happier somehow. It just, there's a ripple effect. The next point here to awaken your intuition, I'm trying to stay on topic, is be open to whatever comes, right? Because you're looking at this emotionally, because you're looking at this from your heart, because you're looking at letting your inner child just go wild with the game, with the story basically that they are playing, that they are coming out with, looking at the images in front of them and accessing the toolbox or toy box of information, knowledge that you have. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that will come to you that logically makes no sense. Just go with it anyway. Why? Because you will see from the other end, you'll be like, oh my god, how did you know that? Or you'll see the client nodding his head and or her head and be like, yeah, man. Sometimes they have this poker face, but then there's something, you see their eyes, they'll spark somewhere and be like, tang, tang, and you'll know. Or they'll get like, or if it's a distance reading or whatever, they'll get back to you and like, how did you know? You were so right. When you hear that, you're, it'll be like an external affirmation you get of this process. But just be open to what comes, right? Sometimes the meanings will not be your textbook meanings. That's okay. That's totally okay. Just go with it, right? Go with it, because in that reading, in that moment, that is what the cards are trying to tell you. Just go with that. Okay, then let the card images guide you. That's always a given, right? I don't think I have to rant a little bit more on that. And tell the story that you feel like saying. Again, it's kind of, the same theme carried forward. So tell what is coming to you. Okay, don't try to make it sound nice or whatever. Yeah, I mean, depending on, with practice, I guess you will be like, okay, so maybe this is not good news, so I should tell it to the client in a positive way. So though that's kind of like the advanced level stuff, in a certain way, like how to present the information. But that's a very intellectual process. But then so this is what what you'll do once you started to trust your intuition, and you know that, okay, this information that's coming through is right and correct, but now intellectually I will have to present this in a way that the client will take it positively, or understand what I'm trying to say. It's not a crazy mess, right? That's again your brain coming in and doing its job. See, one thing again I want to kind of riff on here is, all the time uh, the mind has always gotten a bad rep. Like if you look at the suit of swords in the tarot also, right? Because that's the suit of air and the suit of mind and all of that. All those sword cards, man, come on. The mind is not that bad. Yeah, the mind is not all that bad. The mind, when put to use in a right way, or in a way that it was supposed to be used, can actually deliver stunning results. There's nothing wrong with using your head, or being in, using the intellectual way of looking at things. There's nothing wrong with it. But don't give it such a bad rep. Yes, it does come up with fears. It does come up with negative self-talk. It does come up with stuff that can hinder you from you know, moving forward and so on and so forth. But then, you know what? Heart can also come up with, the heart is not always 100% on the right track all the time, right? Your heart can also come up with feelings and stuff which not necessarily serve you. Yeah, yeah, like like when you fall in love with the wrong guy, or you really want something but it's super expensive but you want it anyways. You know, your heart's desires are your heart's desires. Your heart wants what it wants, like the song goes. But you know, it may not be necessarily right for you, but you want it, right? So again, I'm not dissing on the brain, I'm not dissing on the heart. I'm trying to say is that both the head and the heart have their place in the scheme of things, and don't have to necessarily say head is completely bad and the heart is completely good. No, there's always a gray area for both. There's always the, you know, thing. But you should know, okay? And you're not kids anymore. That's my point. We're not kids anymore. We are not little babies who don't know what's going on with our head and with our heart. We are grown-ups now, right? And since we are grown-ups, it's kind of part of the being a grown-up thing to know what's going on with the head, what's going on with the heart. If you don't know, you'll get to know. It's a process, right? As you grow up, you get to know what the head is thinking, what the heart is feeling. With two different things, they may be going in two different directions, but you should learn then how to harness each process so that it gives you the best, right? So you can use your head to make sense of certain things logically, or to, you know, put something in a systematic logical manner where it's required. You can use your heart to feel your way through things which need feeling their way through it, and to become creative, to become intuitive, or to open up that kind of portal or doorway inside of you where your creativity and your intuition just flows. And you can then use your mind to kind of streamline all of that information that's coming through. You streamline it and you present it, right? It's, again, this, what I'm saying to you is, again, something that will make sense to your head also and heart also, I hope. Because how else can I explain it? How else can I explain it? Because your head and your heart work in different ways, right? But each has a job to do, and when they do it right, you will be the one who is blessed. Who you will be the one who is reap the most reward, who will reap the most rewards. Because you know, head is not, the mind is not completely bad, although it does get a bad rep in the cards. I wish someone comes up with a tarot card deck where this suit of swords is not such a bad, you know, situation all the time, with only one or two sensible cards, like which are not painful in a way to bear. You know, that the imagery is more different. Okay, that's just my thoughts. That's my hope. That's my wish. I'm sending it out into the universe. I hope someone makes such a deck where they don't give the mind such a bad rep. Yeah. So anyway, uh, coming back to the point is, just allow that inner child to come out, play, look at the card meanings. I'm sorry, look at the card images, and remember, intellectually, all the meanings are there in your head. You don't need to look at your notes or revise or whatever. The card story technique is there, right? Go see the video if you need a oh god, the word revision. If you need to, you know, if you don't know what the card story technique is, then go see the video. If you need a quick recap of it, you can fast forward through that video. Point is, it's a step-by-step approach. Yes, clearly it is. And the reason it is step by step, like I said, is because it has to appeal to your head. When it appeals to your head, your heart will accept it more easily and say, okay, let me give this a shot. And when you give it a shot, you will benefit. So trust your intuition, have faith in yourself, because you have that ability already, which has always been sidelined, but now you're slowly bringing it back into use. So there'll be a few maybe glitches for you because you have to trust it, right? You have to trust this ability which you've never used until after, when you grew up or when you went to school or whatever. So you have, so the trust part is where the glitchy part comes in. The moment you start trusting it, the moment you start accepting it, believing it, I mean, I could sit here and recount situations in my life where my intuition has literally saved my life, but I will not bore you with all that. Oh my god, this video is already on pretty long. I might do some editing, maybe not, but what I'm trying to say is trust yourself, trust your intuition. Don't let your fear clog or fog the vision. Tell your fear to take a hike, literally. Okay, tell your fear, not today, not right now, and focus, and just be open, be childlike, be playful, be inventive, be curious, be just be, man. Let your inner child come out and play. Be happy in that moment and just, okay, trust yourself. You have it. You've got it. That's it. Okay, now if I keep talking, I'll not stop. But I kind of, all the main points that were there in the post-its here, I have talked about those. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, email me, put it in the comments, and just go buy my book. and if there's a way to let that lady know that she's kind of missed the point, but she kind of got the bigger point. Hopefully she might be watching my video. She might watch this video. Anyway, I want to say thank you to her, the lady who gave me a 1-star review, because that's kind of, she hit the nail more or less on the head. So anyway, I hope this video and its non-linear linear format made sense to you, and I hope this kind of helps you. This little riff of mine is, oh my god, it's over 45 minutes. This bit of a rant of mine, I hope it helps you in getting rid of your fears and just letting your intuition, or that intuition, child, like your inner child, creativity, it's all the same, I think. So just let it come out and play, be in the moment. And I hope that this video has helped you in kind of making sense of all of that. So talk to me in the comments, let me know. And thank you if you are here, and if you watched this video till the very end. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I know I make long videos, can't help myself, I talk a lot. And thank you so much for listening to me while I talk a lot. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know that you liked it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, just, what are you waiting for? Just subscribe already. And if you want a reading, of course, all the links are in the description that comes with the video, so have a look. And all that stuff, self-promotion, blah blah blah. So I will basically stop talking now, and I will see you in my next video. Yeah, and which is on the calendar. I have to go make that prediction video for next month. I will go do that, and I will see you then. So in the meantime, stay good, be good, and play with your tarot cards. Bye now.